If it's video games you want, it's about time video games you're gonna get. Because Switch 2 is all the discussion around the console, the price, the release, the pre-order, but the games. We got a new huge wave of a bunch of different Switch 2 game leaks and rumors, including that's not it. Shoot. That's not how it goes. You probably know what I'm trying to do, but I did it quite poorly. Anyways, we've got some exciting ports. We've got the potential release date for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I think is going to be one of the hits of the Switch 2's first year of releases, and more. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Let me know in the comments down below what game you want to play most on your Switch 2, and you can't pick Mario Kart. It's tough, right? Mario Kart's what everyone's going to pick. Now, what game do you want to play most? It doesn't matter if it's been announced, it's coming out. You hope it's announced. You think it's going to be announced. We're going to dive straight into all of these different rumors and leaks that have lined up nicely for new games. Kicking it off with my friend Microsoft. All right, a big report came out that Microsoft is porting a bunch of games to Switch 2. But here's where it gets really interesting, okay? Everybody has been looking around and seen Microsoft share their games to PlayStation, PC, and elsewhere, right? They're like, oh, Indiana Jones. The Great Circle is moving to the Great Circle of the PS5. Oh, Doom the Dark Ages, that's going to be there as well. We just got announced that Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5 this summer. We know Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5 this summer. What games are they bringing to Switch 2? They've made no official confirmation of anything on Switch 2 yet, which is odd because they're one of the big partners that Nintendo love to work with. But I think Nintendo is holding them back for a special direct and maybe even a segment that's like dedicated to like, boom, Xbox on Switch, here you go. Now, we've seen some different reports of people saying like, no, it's not going to be the same games that they're getting on PS5. And then we've seen people say, yes, it is the same games we're getting on PS5. It feels like Halo Master Chief Collection keeps coming up. Now, whether it's the full Master Chief Collection or whether it's just parts of the Master Chief Collection, that is in this report, and that has been something that continues to arise. Nate Drake has mentioned it multiple times, including recently, like, yo, Halo is going to be native on Switch 2 soon. And that is very cool. But where sort of the schism develops is Nate Drake recently said that he doesn't believe Indiana Jones or Forza Horizon 5 are coming to Switch 2, at least not currently in development. So then it's like, what games are currently being ported over? Okay, Hi-Fi Rush, but I don't even think Microsoft owns that currently. Flight Simulator, that's one that's been discussed before. Gears of War, like the remake that's coming, I don't know. Like, what games do you think Microsoft is preparing? If I'm Microsoft, I want to get big sellers. I don't want to try and like skimp and just put like an old game out there. I'd like to say, hey, Hellblade's coming to PS5, boom, put it on Switch 2, let's see if we can maximize some sales. Hey, Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5, boom, let's maximize some sales. And there have been other rumors from Xtasis and other people that seem to indicate that more of these bigger titles are coming to Switch 2. So we know Microsoft is working on a big slate of Switch 2 games. We just don't know exactly what it is. If they're going to go small, I say, you can't do that, Microsoft. You already tried the small ball thing with Switch 1, and that was fine, because Switch 1 could only handle games like Ori and Cuphead and Pentiment. You now need to put your bigger titles there. I guess there's a world where they're like, okay, we're going to move Grounded from Switch 1 to Switch 2. We're also going to put Sea of Thieves out there. Doom the Dark Ages. Oblivion would be really nice. The Oblivion remake, I think, would be fantastic on Switch 2. We'll have to wait and see. Something we won't be waiting hopefully too long for is Stellar Blade on Nintendo Switch 2. Now, Stellar Blade is a crazy action game with some spiciness to it that reviewed very well on PS5. This is a PS5 game, not an old game. And recently they announced that Stellar Blade 2 is going to be coming in 2027. But when they announced that Stellar Blade 2 is releasing in 2 years, they also said that they're preparing Stellar Blade for new platforms. Pull the Switch 2 train. Pull the horn. Choo-choo. Coming straight to a system near you. It really feels like, where are they going to port it to? The freaking Game Boy Advance? They better port it to the Switch 2, and it seems like that's what a lot of the rumors and murmurs are saying, that, hey, Stellar Blade 2, a great fit for Switch 2, and would be another great current-gen game. One thing I really want to see in this first year is a lot of current-gen games dispelling this myth that Switch 2 can't do it, that Switch 2 is going to be old quick. The Switch 1 quickly showed that it was old. It was like, okay, these games at the start can't even really do it all that great. But if Switch 2 is like, yo, we got Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Stellar Blade, nobody's going to mess with it. People are just going to be angry because for some reason people don't like Nintendo having a really powerful system. But Stellar Blade is another one that I'm really looking forward to, and I think would be a great portable title on the Switch too. All right, Shenmue 3 is not really my cup of tea. Shenmue 3 came out for PS4 a while back. People were excited that the franchise continued. Now they're saying that, hey, they're getting ready to put that and hopefully put that on other platforms, so people are clamoring for a Switch 2 release. If you're all about the Shenmue stuff, then that's exciting for you. I think the third one didn't really do all that well, and I've never really been interested in the franchise, but I wanted to mention it because, like I said, there's just a ton of Switch 2 rumors and leaks happening right now, games that are coming together, and I think I know everybody is going to want to put their titles on Switch 2, and we're kind of just waiting for the next big direct. The first one was Nintendo's bread and butter, their first-party studios and their third-party partners, and we got those games all coming out within the first few months. But then there's going to be a second wave where Nintendo relies heavily on third parties because we know there's some smaller games that they're dotting in. Like they're using Mario Party Jamboree, the Switch 2 edition to fill in July, August, those months. And they've got DK Bonanza as well. But the summer is going to be populated by Switch 2 editions and by a lot of third-party games. And one of those might indeed be Assassin's Creed Shadows, which has a big DLC leak, but the DLC is planned for September. Now you might be saying, Zach, AC Shadows, like, what does the DLC have to do with it? But I think if Ubisoft is smart, they would tie the DLC into the Switch 2 release to give people a reason to double dip. Imagine if you heard, hey, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Claws of Awaji, the game's first big DLC pack with 10 plus hours of content, is dropping, and oh, by the way, you can get it on Switch 2 day and date with the release. Now that's pretty darn nifty, and according to Tom Henderson and Insider Gaming, it is dropping in September with a potential push to October. And I do wonder if that has to do with the Nintendo Switch 2 release as well. When is Ubisoft going to drop that bomb on the Switch 2 audience? Because I feel like that's going to be one of the must-play games on the system. They can get it running well. That's going to be fantastic. Cyberpunk 2077 at the start, just when you're finishing that up, boom, another huge open world game in the form of AC Shadows. And they're also talking about a co-op mode coming to the game that is not part of this Claws DLC, but will be in addition to that. And I believe that Switch 2 games, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, will eventually get all of the DLC. There should be parity with these games across the consoles, and we should demand it and expect it. Like, yeah, throw the game key card, but then give us all the DLC as it comes out. You don't need to rely on the size of the card. You can just give that DLC, put it in the eShop, let us download it. We're already downloading the whole game anyways. You're going to need a lot of micro SD Express cards, but we'll see how this all shapes out as we start to download and store these games. But I think AC Shadows will be a nice release, and September, October seems perfect to fill that gap between what Nintendo has planned right away at launch and then whatever their holiday plans are. And we should expect to see this stuff pretty soon. If there is a June presentation after launch or an early July presentation after launch, that's when I think Microsoft gets to show its hand, and that's when I think games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I believe showed up on a ratings board. It also has been rumored ad nauseum. Basically, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's not confirmed, but it's like confirmed for Switch 2. So I feel like this DLC is going to definitely tie into its release, so getting that in September, October would be a nice placeholder. You just finished up DK Bonanza, you're still getting your Mario Kart World on, and now you have another cool third-party game to play. There's going to be a lot of debacle if all of these release as game key cards, stuff like Stellar Blade, stuff like Shenmue 3, stuff like the Microsoft games. Do they come out in physical form? Do they come out as game key cards? Or are they the dreaded and disastrous, undesirable game key codes where you don't even get a freaking fake cartridge in that box? So we'll address that as it happens. It's going to be very interesting to see the next wave of announcements. A lot of poor reception on the game key cards, so I do wonder if maybe some companies are going to be willing to pony up for those more expensive 64 gigabyte cartridges to try and appease fans and seem like the good guy, like, hey, look, our game is actually in there and it's actually on there. Maybe we have kind of maneuvered some of them into doing that with a little bit of our coverage and with the internet's displeasure with game key cards as a whole. But that is a really good list and slate of Nintendo Switch 2 games that we can look forward to. Obviously, we've got all the stuff announced, but I feel like nobody's really talking yet. Nintendo still seems to have a clamp on upcoming games, ones that might be releasing later in the fall and towards the holiday season. This is kind of like the first bit of rumor that's squeezed through the door, and it makes me very excited because we've got Summer Game Fest coming up, there's an inevitable Nintendo Direct coming up, and then after launch, and Nintendo sells you Mario Kart World and the DK Bonanza pre-order, maybe they'll be like, okay, other companies, third parties, you can finally talk about your games. Monster Hunter Wilds, where are you? It's got to be coming soon. Let me know in the comments down below which games you're most excited to play on your Switch 2. And until next time, 2 weeks to go, baby. 2 freaking weeks. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive there. Love you lots. Switch Force out.